Here's what happened. Um, when I was working on Saturday Night Live with Albert Brooks, it was the late 70s, and I was always a fan of music, a big fan of rock and roll. And just then, that whole punk rock movement started happening. And I started going out and seeing all the bands and going to the clubs and trying to understand this movement, which to me was a very, very radical music movement, but also radical social movement. And I really think about myself. I didn't really consciously say it back then, but today I think about myself as kind of a rock and roll anthropologist. and I wanted to learn more about the punk rock scene. And all the guys I was working with when I was hanging out with Albert, like Rob Reiner and James Brooks and a lot of really high profile comedians. They said Penelope, go on an interview. Maybe you could produce this movie Private Benjamin that Goldie Hawn is doing. And I said, no, I think I'm not even going to go on that interview because I had just produced Real Life, Albert Brooks' first feature. I said, no, I'm not even going to go on that interview because I want to make a documentary on punk rock music. And they all thought I was crazy. And matter of fact, they harassed me a lot about it. But I went and did it anyway. And it was The Decline of Western Civilization is the first feature I did. And it was, some people say, the most written about movie of that year, which would have been 1981 when it was released. And I mean, everyone was writing about that movie because they didn't understand the movement. All the critics, all the reviewers, they just had to understand it and know it and see it and try to figure it out. So it really put me on the map as a director. The thing about doing The Decline of Western Civilization, which to me, that was the point in my career when I decided I'm not going to be a producer, I'm going to be a director. Um, I, I to this day am so thankful that I made that decision because making movies is all about changing people's lives. And so many people over the years have come to me and said, thank you for making the Decline of Western Civilization series. There's 3 films now, because it changed my life. It made me think differently about the world. It made me move out here from, Hoboken or, it made a big difference in a lot of people's lives. And if there's any real one reason for making a movie, it's if you can change people's lives.